Hello YouTubers, this is Engineer Pat 5290 outside for a little special here. I want to wish all of you a happy 4th of July. Today I'm doing my salute to trail building. As you can see behind me here, I'm designing a trail for my backyard to lead up to my patio from this front step. You're probably thinking it's really complicated, but it's not. And here's some of the tools that you're going to be needing. Okay, first, lay all the tools down. First of all, you're going to need some stakes. You need a stake to take a measurement on how wide you want your trail. As you can see on my mock-up here, I have 6 stakes in place at 17.5-inch inside measurement. And you can see I've already started rough cutting here, but we'll get to that here in just a second. You're also going to be needing an engineer's hammer to drive your stakes in. You're going to need a pickaxe to do your rough cutting. There's the difference between a pickaxe and a cutter mat. This is actually a cutter-matic because it has a cutter edge on both ends. So you'll be using one of these. And make sure this is tight on here because if this head gets loose and you start swinging it, you can hit somebody in the head. So have one of these. Next you're going to need a hoe. For the fish cutting, you have to take on maybe just a little bit, just to even the trail out. You can also use a hard rake, or known as a bow rake, to also level out your dirt, if you need to. And you're also going to be needing a flat shovel or a square shovel to clean up all the grass that comes off. So that's the tools you're going to need, and you should also have a wheelbarrow with you to put all the scraps in. First of all, real quick, let's talk about shop safety real quick. Always when you're on a job site, you always have to think safety. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to be wearing protective vests so we know who we are. Then I'm also going to put on some protective safety glasses to protect my eyes. And a good old hard hat to protect our head. Alright, we're ready to get started. Now as you can see down here, where that green spray paint is, I'll move the camera up a little closer where you can see it. I took a measurement of this whole front step. And as you can see here, I actually made this out of these old blocks. I took a measurement of 79 inches and I divided it in half to make it 39.5. So I took the center mark, which is right here where my right index finger is, and this other mark to make it 17.5. So now we're getting ready to start rough cutting. Now you're probably thinking about what is rough cutting. That's when you take your pick-matic or your cutter-matic to get rid of all the clumps. As so, because you're not actually swinging it like an axe. You're actually going to be swinging it like a golf club. Get in a comfortable position, and you just start getting rid of the weeds. As you can see, I've already started doing some of this, just to get an idea of how it would do. And always check your edges on your tools, because you never want to work with dull edges on your tools. See, that's the whole stroke and that's the whole idea, is scooping it out. And when you get a pile together, switch your tools and get the flat shovel. Now you might have to use your hands to get it out because it gets thick. Scoop it up and put it in your wheelbarrow. It's pretty much how to do the rough cutting part. We'll do this a couple times so you guys can get the idea. Alright, you see I've got this pretty close right now. Now we're getting ready to start rough cutting the next section and the next 2 stakes. Okay, so this is how you start it. You remember to stay in between the stakes and always pull back. You get a little bit more leverage when you do it. Just remember, don't cut too deep. Because you cut too deep, you might make your trail too deep. See, all this stuff is just coming right out of here. Alright, I got a little pile. Now I'm ready to scoop it up. Go ahead and pull it out. Scooping it up, put it in the wheelbarrow. And just remember, I want to take a quick safety break. Drink lots of water, especially in these summer months. I learned how to do this. I'm going to turn the camera so I can talk for just a second. I learned how to do these types of projects at Philmont Scout Ranch. I'm also a proud Eagle Scout as well. And one of the days when you're on the trail, you do conservation work. And for my conservation project on Trek 7 for this year was to help finish a new trail. I learned how to rough cut, I learned how to finish cut, which we'll get to in just a little bit, and I also got to remove some stumps along the trail. So working with Philmont staff was a great pleasure. I learned a lot from them. This is my first time actually doing this, so it's a good learning experience for me and pretty much everybody who's a beginner at this. So just want to take a couple second break here. Now we'll get back to some rough cutting. I'm going to point the camera down where you guys can see the job. If you run into a root, don't break it, because it might be a root for one of your newer trees or something. So please don't cut it. If you accidentally cut it, it's not the end of the world. It grows back. Okay? Now we're going to move the camera up some, and we're going to start working on the curve. So, see, here's where it's going to actually start curving. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, because you got to make sure you curve it at the right angle. So, now I'm going to start curving the angle. See, I just chewed up a bunch of the grass right there. If you don't have stakes here, it's okay. Use your other ones as guides. See all this I'm getting up? That's digging it up. You can also pull it out with your hard rake. This allows us to clean out the hole. Okay? Now we'll go ahead and finish this with a cutter-matic. Alright. Go ahead and rake it out. Okay. Now you can see the trail is getting there. Made that actually a little bit wider than everything else. I'm going to eventually go back and widen this a little bit more to allow your feet to get a little bit more room. So this is the rough cutting portion. In part 2, we'll go ahead and start leveling some of this dirt. Before you know it, a trail is going to be built. So we'll be right back in just a few minutes.